Hey y'all, welcome back to our very bookish channel. My name is Amanda and my friend Jen and I run this channel together because we love putting out bookish content for you guys. We love reading, we love talking about books, buying books, watching other people's content. We are just so excited to have our channel and share all of our thoughts and feelings with you guys about these books. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about all the books we read in April. So, total for the month of April, I read 9 books. I did have 0 DNFs this month, which that is good. I did enjoy most of my books pretty good. I think there was only one book I gave a 2 stars, one book maybe 2.5 stars, I'm not sure, but I had 0 DNFs. I actually only had a 3.4 average rating, which that's pretty low. Like, I would really love to love all my books and to have like close to a 4 rating. That's more ideal in my mind. And I had 1 5-star read. The first book I'm going to talk about is Dragon Rider by Taran Matharu. This is the first book of a new series. It was just released in April. This is an ARC edition, but they do have the hardcover edition out, which I have ordered, but I don't have it in yet. So I am actually getting the finished hard edition, a copy of this book, because this got destroyed. Even though I tried really hard to keep it in good condition. And I am going to continue the series, so I'm eventually going to want to buy all the other books, and I can't rely on my luck of getting ARCs of all the books. So I have ordered my copy. So in Dragon Rider, you're following Orphan, and he becomes soulbound to a dragon, and you're just following him on this journey to learn about being soulbound to animals and trying to avenge his people that have been wronged by the ruling empire, and also while being hunted. And with a girl that comes along with him for the ride. So if that's something you're interested in, please check out my ARC review I did on this book. There are way more details in that, and I will link it up here and in the description below.
Hey guys, welcome to April Overview, and I am also extremely hot today. It is 80 degrees and our air conditioning isn't working. So I can't put off this video because my week is jam-packed with work and I have doctor's appointments at the end of the week, so I have to record today. So I piled my hair on top of my head because I am like super hot today. I have a fan blowing on me and hopefully it's not going to be too much noise in the background, and it's like white noise. The curtains closed to try and keep some of the hot sun out of here. Is super hot, and I'm gonna try to get through this without sweating too much. Besides the weather being super uncomfortable right now, I am gonna go over 8 books that I read in April. I was all over the place. I had, of the 8 books, I had 6 different genres. I had one 1-star book, which is, I think, my only 1-star book this year, because I know I had a really low star book at the end of last year. But I also had 3 5-star books in April, and the rest were 4-star books. So the 1-star book just obviously got overtaken by everything else that I was reading. Of the 8, I only have 5 of them physically with me because I have let 3 different people borrow 3 of the books that I read in April. So let's dive right in. I'm gonna start off with the ARC that I got that I just sent to Amanda, and she's been reading all weekend already because it is a really, really good book. And it is Heaven Breaker. I do have the insert from the box that they gave me so you guys can see. It's gonna have gorgeous pages, the sprayed on. I don't know if they're stenciled or not, but the ARC was not like that. And if you guys have watched our most anticipated, I had the physical book and I read a really strange ARC message that I've never seen before, where they really only wanted us to read it for pleasure and not talk about the contents. So I am going to oblige them, and I am not going to go over any of the contents, just that it's a really, really, really great book. It is adult fantasy, and it comes out May 21st, I believe. If you were a fan of Fourth Wing, I would even say, I think Sarah Moss fans would appreciate it as well. Amanda's gonna be able to talk to that more than me because I haven't read Sarah Moss yet. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and it was one of my 5-star reads for the month. So I very much would recommend Heavenbreaker. It was a very enjoyable book, and Amanda, I'm sure, will attest to it when she talks about it too.
Hey y'all, your girl editing Amanda is here, and I'm just jumping in real quick to say that I have actually finished Heavenbreaker, and I agree with Jen, it's amazing. Y'all are gonna want to put this one on your calendar and run out and get it on release day.
I'm already sweating, but I'm gonna try and get through the rest.
The next book I read is another arc, The Fireborn Blade by Charlotte Bond. This book is coming out on May 28th, and I am editing a full arc review that I did of this book, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it here. You will have to watch my arc review video if you want to know more about this book. It is a very short little fantasy novel. It is at least a duology because I know there's a second book coming out. So, and the second book is also very short. So if you're just getting into fantasy, or if you like just want a little short read, one that's fast that you could maybe read in 1 or 2 sittings, then I would recommend this book for you.
Another of my book resolutions I got to this month, and I am so happy to finally say that I've read To Kill a Mockingbird. It was another one of my 5-star reads for April. It was such an endearing tale, though there were lots of things that I struggled with in this book because of the blatant racism that is in it. But at the heart of the book, you see a father who really cares for his children. You also see him standing up for what's right. I was confused though, because I didn't realize that it was from the viewpoint of Scout, who is like 7, 8, and 9, I think, during this book. And I thought the trial was pretty much the whole book, but it is not. It is not until the second half of the book. And the first half, I was greatly confused at first, but then once I got over and into the trial and everything that happens at the end, I very much understood why people talk about this book so much and say it's their favorite book. And I still have to watch the movie, but I absolutely enjoyed it, and I was very glad to get this, finally, this classic off of my list.
The next 2 books I'm going to talk about are books that Jen and I read for our April Secret TBR Pick vlog. We decided to pick the highest and lowest Goodreads ranked book we had on our want to read list. And my lowest ranked book was The Finalist by David Bell. And if you want to know more about this book and see my reactions to reading it, then please go check out our April Secret TBR Pick vlog. But I'm going to read just a quick quote from what the book was described as. This book has been described as a chilling and profound look at the lengths both students and colleges will go to survive in a resource-starved academic world. So it does take place in a school setting, like a college setting, and if you're interested in this, then just go check out that vlog. The next book I read was the highest ranked Goodreads TBR pick, and that was The Will of the Many by James Islington. I did purchase the ebook edition of this book because I had a hard time finding it in hardcover, and like there was no copies at my library, which is just crazy to me because so many people have read and love this book. Like, why would my library system not have one single copy of it? So I just decided to purchase the digital copy of this book, and I have actually ordered the hard copy of the book. I went back and forth because the paperback edition is coming out in October, but I don't know. This is a series, and I know I'm not going to want to wait for the paperback of the second edition, the second book to come out in the series. So I just went ahead and bought the hardcover copy, and it is coming into my local Barnes & Noble probably as we speak. And also, since I did a full vlog on this book and you can get all of my thoughts and feelings, I want to just read a blurb about the description of this book. It's been described as, at an elite Catinian academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series by internationally best-selling author of the Lycania series, James Islington. So there's a little tidbit information about this book, but it has been read and loved by lots of people.
A vlog that is coming up is our secret vlog where we had to read the highest rated Goodreads want to read book on our list and also the lowest rated Goodreads choice. I believe she's gonna get that out before we post this, so obviously I can spoil the surprise as to what the books are, but my highest rated was Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and my lowest rated was Dawn DeLillo's The Silence. And I did very much enjoy this one. It was not my other 5-star read. I did give it 4 stars, so it was still highly rated. Historical fiction. I just struggled through this one, and if you want to just watch that vlog, you will see how I feel about both of these books, so I'm not going to go too in depth for them. So I'm going to save the rest of the surprise for how I feel about these books in that vlog, so check it out. I'm sure she can link it in this one after, I'm sure she's going to get it posted before this one.
The next book I want to talk about that I read in April is actually an audiobook that I borrowed from the Libby app, and it is called That Time That I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. And this book, you guys, at first when I saw this is a series, and I have seen several people talking about these books in this series, and at first I thought, this is silly. Why are people reading these books? This is such a silly book. Like, who would read that? But I kept seeing people reading it, and you guys know I get curious about books, so I decided to try it out for myself, and this was a super fun book. I really had a good time listening to the audiobook of this. You're following Cinnamon, and they call her Sin for short, and her family owns a spice farm where they grow cinnamon trees, and she accidentally saves this demon one night, and you're just following her and this demon on their quest to find these chalices and break them so that they can relieve all the demons in this world from a curse that they have been under. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of fantasy aspects of this book. Like, I thought this was just gonna be some corny romance, but this was an adventure. There was a lot of fantasy aspects of this book and this world that I enjoyed. The main character is just hilarious. She says the funniest things, and I just find her humor in very, like, she'll get in these serious situations where she's like about to die, and she just will say the funniest things, and I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my time reading this book. I think for these types of books, I have to kind of be in the mood for them, so I don't know when or if I'm going to read another book in the Mead Mishaps series, but I'm not opposed to it. I really thought this book was fun. And when I'm in the mood for something like that again, maybe I'll try to find another audiobook of the second book in this series.
Seriously, just want to go get into some really cold water right now. I didn't even remember a drink to bring up with me. I started the month with Not That I Could Tell You by Jessica Strausser. I ended up being at an event where she was signing books, and I do have this signed right there. And this one I really liked as well. It wasn't my other 5-star read. I gave this 4 stars, but this I enjoyed. It was just fiction with some, I would say, like literary thriller mixed in, because there is some mystery / thriller involved. And I would say if you liked that sitcom Desperate Housewives, I would call it dramedy, I guess. Either Desperate Housewives, or there was the HBO series that was based on a book called, and of course I'm forgetting the name of it. It stars Reese Witherspoon. I'll just put it on the screen because I cannot remember it. But if you like either of those types of either books or TV series, then this will definitely be a book that you would enjoy. It's about a group of friends, and one of them goes missing, and you kind of are trying to figure out what really happened behind closed doors with her and her husband, with their family, because she has kids. There's always the thought that it's always the husband, and it kind of delves into that as to how much her husband was involved in what happened. So I really enjoyed this, and it actually takes place in Ohio. It's in a town called Yellow Springs, which is very close to where I work. And I thought that was a little interesting tidbit, but it is a local author, and I got a chance to be at the event with her. And I also, the same event had Jacqueline Mitchard, which I went over in March, but I was really happy I got a chance to read this, and I definitely want to read more books by her too. It was a really great read.
The next book I want to talk about that I read in April is An Arc of the Next Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. And in this book is a thriller. It's the second installment of the Mrs. Parrish series that these authors, this is a pen name of two authors, they're sisters that write the book, are going to be putting out. And I don't know if they're going to continue. The first book was put out in 2017. This book is coming out in 2024. And so who knows? Who knows if they're going to continue the series, but I just love these authors. Their thrillers are so good. They are addictive and page turning, and they just reel you in. And the characters, oh my gosh, the characters in this series are amazing. I love the characters. I hate some of the characters, and it's always good to see when you have characters you don't like get a little bit of justice that they deserve. So highly recommended. If you want more information about this book, I am putting out a full arc review, so stay tuned for that.
Another one that I absolutely loved, yet it wasn't my other 5-star read, I gave this one 4 stars, is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. I had heard good things about this author. He's an international best-selling author, and this was the first time I was trying him, and oh my God, was I riveted to this book. I couldn't stop reading this book, and I absolutely loved it. It kept me guessing. It was such a thrill ride to read this book. So if you like really fast-paced thrillers, this is definitely for you. And it's kind of based on Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, but it ends up being like a twist on that. And I gasped when a couple of the twists happened and I didn't see it coming. And I kind of guessed something else, and I was happy that I had guessed that twist, but then the other 2 twists, I was a little in shock. And I would say it's for fans of Frida McFadden for sure, as well as David Ellis's Look Closer, because that book also had a lot of similar twists going on. But this one was absolutely great. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this one.
So y'all, I did it. I finally started Assassin's Blade. I started the Throne of Glass series. I read Assassin's Blade in April, and I don't know. I have mixed emotions about this book. On one hand, I did enjoy my time reading this book. I did find it entertaining, especially the last 2 stories. The last 2 stories, in my opinion, they're the longer stories in this book. There are 5 total. The last 2 were super interesting. They got me a little bit emotional, and I enjoyed my time. I can't wait to start reading A Throne of Glass, which is the next book I'm going to read in this series. And on the other hand, I'm not a fan of short stories and short story collections and novellas. I don't know what it is. Like, I love the idea of like, oh yeah, let's just sit and in one sitting, you know, just read and love this little short story. I love the idea of it and little bites of books, but I also feel like I don't enjoy them as much because you don't get as much of the character, of the story. You don't get background, you know, it's not very layered. There's limited number of characters because there's just so many you can introduce in short stories. So I find that I love the concept of short stories, but I also find that actually reading them is not as enjoyable to me as reading an entire book. So I hope that makes sense. However, in this book, it is 5 short stories. They go in chronological order though, and they're all kind of interlinked. So you kind of feel like you are reading one whole story with just some missing sections of time between each book, because, you know, there is some like missing points in time. The books are separate and individual, but also interconnected. I hope that makes sense. I'm just, you know, I like Sarah J. Maas. I wouldn't say that I love her. I really didn't start really liking her until I read A Court of Silver Flames. And I really want to keep reading, and I feel like her books as you go along in the stories, like in the trilogies, just get more in depth and better, or in the trilogies, in the series, sorry about that, in her series, they get more developed and better and better and better. And I don't know if it's just her world building, how she like builds these worlds, and the more you learn about the worlds, the more you can enjoy the stories in them. But I enjoyed this. It was good for short stories, and I am so glad that I read this first, and I'm going to be continuing the series. Hopefully I will get to A Throne of Glass in May.
The other two books I don't have physically, so I will have Amanda just put them on the screen for me. And I got a chance to read another Sophie Cousins, and of course I absolutely loved it. Hannah let me borrow it. It's the last Sophie Cousins that I got a chance to read. This one was called Just Haven't Met You Yet, and it also was just a very cute premise. I absolutely love her writing and her humor, and I can never put them down. They're just very easy to read, and I just absolutely adore her writing and her books. Of course, this was my other 5-star read that I given all her books 5-star reads, just because I have such a great feeling with all her books. I don't ever feel disappointed in anything that I've read by her, and I can't wait till she has another one coming out at the end of this year. This one is about a woman who is from the UK. She comes over to Jersey. Her parents have passed away, and she is researching her parents' love story because she really wanted to just see the place that her parents had been. And she also has a job where she investigates love stories and presents them on like a TV show. So when she goes to New Jersey, she ends up getting the wrong suitcase. And the suitcase that she gets is of a man that seems to, she feels, be her soulmate because of what she finds in the suitcase. And it was just so funny when she was going through the suitcase and finding these things, and then she's trying to get her own suitcase, and she ends up meeting this taxi cab driver, and they have this great chemistry. And I don't want to give away the ending, but she is after the person who has this suitcase, and she ends up meeting him, and that's all I will say. But it's just this very cute premise, very cute story. Absolutely loved it and devoured it, and I can't wait for a new one by Sophie Cousins.
The next book I read was Everyone is Watching by Heather Gundenkoff, and I read The Overnight Guest by Heather Gundenkoff, and I feel the same about both of those books. This book is a thriller. You are following 5 characters who are all competing in a reality TV series to win $10 million. And every single one of these characters was chosen for a reason, and you kind of unravel all their mysteries. They all have something to hide, and throughout this book you unravel them all. I loved the concept. I found the live recording, reality TV aspect very enjoyable. Some of the characters are okay. I just really wasn't invested in all of the characters, or even really any of the characters. You know, there's some in particular that are, you know, more unpleasant than others. That's their character. They're supposed to be. You're supposed to not like them. But I really kind of felt a little indifferent to the characters for some reason. I really didn't, you know, really root for one or the other. And I think they're all morally gray, and that might be one reason why. But I do love a morally gray character, and in a lot of books I read have morally gray characters. I do still really want them to get what they want and be happy. So I'm not sure. I guess this author is just sort of middle of the road for me, because this is the second book of hers that I've read that I've been kind of, you know, in the middle of the road about. I enjoyed my time in this book, but also by the time I got to the end, I felt like I just wanted the book to be over. And honestly, part of that is me. Don't let that discourage you from picking up this book if it's one you're interested in. That's probably me, because I feel like sometimes if I'm spending too much time in a book, or if I'm not exactly enjoying the book, even though it's really good, but I'm not like really into it or in the mood for it, I have so many other books that I want to read that I'm just like, oh, I would rather be reading that one. Hurry up and finish this one so I can get to this one. And Jen actually did a pretty cute short about that. I'll link it if I can find it. I'll link it in the description below, where she's like, you know, reading a book, but then also checking out her TBR pile. That's really funny, but I'll link that below if you want to check that out. But yeah, that's my thoughts about this book. I would encourage you to try it if you are interested in this book, but for me, I just wasn't as invested.
The last one I read in April is one that I did an ARC review that Amanda can also link that into this video. If Anything Happens to Me by Alex Finley. I really enjoyed that as a thriller. It was a 4-star read for me. And you can click on that link to see any more thoughts on that one, just so that I'm not going on and on and on about something that you can see all my thoughts on. But it is a really great thriller too.
The 9th and final book that I'm going to talk about for the month of April is The Darkness Within Us by Tricia Levenseller. And this is the 2nd installment of her Shadows Between Us series. I guess it's going to be a series. This is the 2nd book. I don't know if she's going to end it with a trilogy or keep going in a series or just keep it a duology. I don't know. But this is the 2nd installment of that series. And I'm going to leave a full ARC review for this if you want to know more thoughts about it, but a quick overview. In this book, you are following Chrysanthia. She is the sister of Alessandria. If you read The Shadows Between Us, you know Alessandria was the main female character in that book, and Chrysanthia is the main female character in this book, and you're following her story of getting everything that she wants in the world and then have it threatened and almost taken away. I highly recommend this book. I always have fun with Tricia Levenseller's books. I love her YA books. I feel like they are very entertaining and engrossing and perfect for young adult readers without any of the inappropriate sexual content. So I just have highly enjoyed all of her books, and I look forward to reading more of this author.
So this is most of what my April looked like, including 2 more other than this, or was it 3 more? I don't know. I'm really hot. I feel like I can't think when I'm this hot. Let us know in the comments if you've read any, if you want to read any of these. And I can't wait to get to my May reads when I have my air conditioning fixed and I have a chance to read. So hopefully you had a great April as well. And until next time, and hopefully next time is air conditioned.